Hi everyone. I wanted to give you a brief overview of the new Nurses Notes program that we discussed last Friday. Several of the components are still not complete. We're still working on tidying up some of the delivery options and things like that. But one thing that is working pretty well right now, and I haven't found too many issues with, is actually the nurses charting, where you'll enter all your information. So I wanted to kind of go over that with you and show you what that looks like and give you some of the features that we have come up with that we hope will help your charting become a little less time consuming. So let me get into this briefly with you. So this is the app that you will access from the internet, and this is what it will look like. Again, it's very simplistic. You'll have a username and a login, and so I will go ahead. You will notice that's it on this page. So let me just go ahead and log in. You'll hit enter. And this is what your home page will look like. You will see the several options: nurses charting, invoices, which will be mostly controlled by the billers inside the office, facilities, which is much to the similar to the master data file, where we'll have a complete listing of facilities with their pricing structure, whatever group they're assigned to. I will get into that later. A list of all the patients. So what that does is it very quickly, we can go in there, and if I want to see every single patient on every single nurse's notes alphabetically, I can do that. Or I can run reports to quickly identify patients that are currently housed because they have a diet, and I will be able to identify those patients and be able to see if it's something we need to revisit and see if they have DC diets. The inventory tab is very simply, as it states, inventory. It's where, like the master data file, we will list all the inventory items and the pricing structures attached to those items. Down here in the bottom, you will see account management and company preferences. Those are much again like the master data file. Those will be controlled by me and or Chrissy in the office. That's where we enter things in the background, pricing structures, assignment of facilities to reps, and that will all be controlled by us in the office. So I wanted to show you very quickly, as quickly as I can, the nurses charting option. So I will click here on nurses charting, and that is going to give us basically where you are going to do most of your work, where you're going to enter your patients, make changes to the nurses notes, things like that. So let me just kind of briefly give you an overview. It's pretty much set up where you will select your month that you're working in. So if it's June, we will select June. Obviously the year is 2020. And you will click over here and get a drop down of all the facilities. Now, right now, these are all the facilities we have in here. You will notice these are the ones for the reps that I did ask to assist me this month with sending me updates, so that I could mimic what is in the current program to make sure that this program is working properly. So this is where you will select a facility. I'm just going to do Broadway by the Sea simply because that's one of the more smaller facilities that we're testing. And so once you hit that, it's very simple. We tried to mimic it as much as possible to look very similar to what you're used to. And this is what it has come up with. So I will try not to add to the confusion and try to be very simplistic with this explanation. You will see, just because I'm sure some of you are curious what these bars are up here. New would be simply if you were going to add a new patient. Find would be similar to your Control-Alt-F, where you would just hit that, type in the name of a patient, and it'll take you right to it. If you wanted to sort these nurses' notes, you could simply hit on sort, and you could have the option to sort these nurses' notes however you wanted, whether it be by room number, item description, patient, start date, whatever. Show all is simply, it's going to show you everything that's already on your notes if you've sorted something. These are not working yet. It's basically just a first, last, previous. So you go back to your screen, move forward. Order confirmation is going to be your order confirmation. I'll click on it, just give you a brief overview. We're still tidying things up on here, but this is your confirmation that you currently send out to your facilities for changes. You will note that this can be printed, emailed to your facility. So to get out of the screen, you simply hit cancel. Worksheet, I'm not going to get into that because that's going to require a little bit of training, and I want to do that in a separate tutorial. Facility inventory is simply what it is. Your delivery would be where you would go in and put in your inventory you receive from the facilities, and it will calculate what you need to send for delivery. That module is still being tested and having some work done on it, so I'm not going to go into that. Dashboard, again, this is considered the dashboard. Anytime you hit dashboard, it takes you back to your main screen. So let me go back into the nurses charting, and we're right back where we left off at Broadway by the Sea. So as you can see, there's several new options. If you hover, I'm sorry if you don't, this is your note. This view and edit your nurse's notes. So if you wanted to view this particular line, you would click on that, and it's going to give you a screen where you can view the specific details in a more condensed version rather than looking all the way to the right to see your information. You can also enter your information for new patients or changes in this box rather than typing from left to right across the lines. Then we have this button, which I recently just developed with them to make the ease of adding lines to your nurses very simple. If you need to duplicate or add another line for Actar, in this case, you would simply click this, and it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to duplicate this chart? You would say yes, and basically it's just going to insert a line with the exact same information, and then you would very easily go into that and make your changes and updates. Then here we have a very simple delete this nurse's note. So if you get to the point where you're cleaning up your next month's nurse's notes and you need to delete a patient that say has been expired for a few months, you would simply hit delete. Again, it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to delete this? And you would simply say yes or no. And then that would remove it from your nurse's notes. So I'm confident that this perhaps will make updating your nurse's notes a little more simplistic. If you jump down here, you will also notice that there is a $sign. This one does not have it. This one does, and that is because we are telling it that this patient's chart was being back billed. So I simply unclicked it, and it says this patient's chart is not being back billed. If you click on it again, it is now a $sign, and this patient's chart is being back billed. And that's all you need to do to back bill a patient. Again, the same process will be for back billing. You'll need a line for every single month so that we can identify those charges by month. But it's a very simple click and unclick to bill or back bill rather, or not back bill a patient. So you would just click on the field that's right here. This one is empty. If I click on it, well, look, I just found a problem. Okay. And again, this is why we're kind of testing this. But there will be the option here in all of these to bill or back bill. And you would simply click in that box and there would be a $sign. The next thing you'll notice is that there is a lock and unlock button. So if we want to lock this record, you can, so that no changes can be made to it. However, that is designed specifically for the billers. To lock a record once they've billed it, or when we roll over a facility to the next month, it will lock all these records. So it's very simple for everyone. Once this facility gets rolled over to July, all of these will be locked. Now, going back to this rollover facility, what happens is when you turn in your nurse's notes at the end of the month, normally you would go in and you would save as, say in this instance, July. In this case, you would simply click on rollover facility. It's going to take everything you did and move it into July, and you don't have to do anything else from that point forward. So when you were to come in again after a visit, you simply would go and select July, and you would now have your new July nurse's notes for Broadway by the Sea with all your information already there. So let me just show you very quickly, if I can, and I don't find any more problems, how you add a patient or add a line. So say for instance you have a new patient that is not on this nurse's notes, just got admitted. You would simply hit new, and it's going to bring up this screen. And this screen here is basically all the patients that have ever been at Broadway by the Sea. If you just had a patient that you wanted to add back in that maybe left for a month and came back, you would very simply come find that patient. And let's pick Vargas. Say we want to add Vargas back in. You would just hit the arrow for Vargas. And now you can very quickly see Vargas has been added here. And to add all of the patient Vargas's information, you would click here, view, edit the nurse's notes. You're going to have your pop-up here. So you would just enter a room number, and you hit tab to go down, and you can get your item ID. I don't know what happened there, guys. I am so sorry. Let me get out of there. All right, let's try that again. So we would edit to Callie Chen, or you can very quickly go down here if there's something else you want, and you can do it by item description. Your payer type, of course, will be Part A, Part B house. You will come down here and you will pick your administration set, and you just scroll down to get the one you want. Method of administration, syringes, hydration bag. That is something that we may use in the future. I've just had that added for now. Notes is what is new. So we have added, beside your comments, we've added a drop down for notes. And as I mentioned earlier, we are trying to come up with the ability to quickly identify patients that are not being billed under Part B and why, so that we can very easily get a snapshot out of the facility, how many patients are housed and on a diet. Do we need to revisit those diets to see if they've been DC'd, or how many patients are private pay? It just gives us a lot more reporting options to see the overall program and how it's working. So there will be a drop down, and they will have pre-populated categories for you all to select, and we will keep adding categories as needed. These were just a few to get us started. So say for instance the patient has B but they have a diet, you would check has B plus diet. Then you would come over here and you would just put in your CCs, and it's going to populate for you your total CCs and calories as usual. It's going to put the hang time for this facility based on what we have in the facility file, and it's going to tell you how many of these items you need based upon the CCs and the calories for this facility. Again, your start date, you can either click the calendar, or you can type in. And again, it will tell you how many days are left in this month based on the start date. It's going to tell you how many days you're delivering for this facility, and again, how many quantity you're delivering based upon your CCs. And then here are your comments, which you are used to seeing and what you're doing. We can put in need MD order, and that's it. You don't have to save it anywhere. You simply hit the X. And now Vargas has populated. Just to go back up here, this pop-up will hopefully not keep popping up on us. That is one of the things they are working on controlling, where it doesn't pop up automatically, only when you request it to. But since it is up, let me show you. Say you have a brand new patient, they are not on this list. You would simply go add new patient, and you would type in their last name, their first name, facility patient ID. That is something else they have added that is a field we haven't seen before. They have actually added, as you can see over here, a patient ID. We have that added just in case for any future use we need to add a patient ID or some sort of code to identify certain patients. So that one at this time will be left blank, but it will be something that is an option. So once you add that new patient, you simply hit your arrow button again. And if you scroll to the bottom, there is your new patient. And again, I am so sorry, you guys. I don't know why it populated with... you guys, I'm sorry. I don't know why it populated with the information we put in for Vargas. It shouldn't have done that. It should have very simply... Let's try this again. You're learning with me. New. Add new patient. And let's put in Macintosh. First name, Christina. And very easily, we should be able just to hit the arrow button. And now Christina McIntosh is there. So I apologize. What I needed to do was hit new, have the box open up, add new patient. And then now I would go in, edit that record, and put in all Christina's information. I hope I haven't confused you. Again, this will not be your only training. I was just doing this to give you a little snapshot of what's forthcoming, as I know everyone is always very curious and apprehensive about changes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in. I've decided that I don't need to add Christina, so I'm just going to very simply delete this chart. Am I sure? Yes. And now Christina goes away. So here is Kelly again. This order, you know what? I made a mistake. I need to edit it. I'm just simply going to go back, click on it, and I can make any changes I need to. Click out of it. And now it has updated if you've made a mistake. If I need to add a line because Kelly has now changed her formula or her start date, we would simply hit duplicate. Yes. And now you will see I have 2 lines and you are able to edit. So you have 2 options. Again, you can click here and that window will pop up and you can edit in here. Or if it's just a simple start date and you don't want to go through all that, where did it go? Okay, here it is. So it put it back into some sort of order. I'm not sure what. But I found me, and I'm going to say I'm going to stop on 6/23/2020. You can simply type in any of these boxes. Okay. Again, please remember that a lot of these pop-ups have not been completely programmed, so you're seeing a lot of things pop up unexpectedly. So again, you can type in this box if I have a stop date, and you want to go back to the one you copied, and here it is. And you can if it's just a matter of I went out to the hospital and came back, you can either click here, and you can change the start date. And again, I apologize. I could take the calendar is probably the best way to do it. 6/25. So there it is. I do believe the program prefers us to use the edit button. That might be a way to avoid the pop-ups coming up unexpectedly like that. But I'm hoping that you'll just get the idea that this is very simple to navigate once you get used to it. So I'm going to delete me because I'm not supposed to be on there. Are you sure you want to delete? Yes. And again, this is popping up. That will be taken care of so the pop-ups don't keep coming up. Okay. Now please, one thing you do need when you're down here, you can scroll all the way over and see all your notes. Or there is also the option over here at the very right. If you happen to be over this way and you don't want to scroll all the way back, you can click over here and hit edit and get that pop-up as well. Now you'll notice there's really no save buttons anywhere. I don't know what it's doing. I do believe that programming is working in this program right now, so it could be something where he's doing things and I'm trying to record this tutorial for you. Okay, looks like it finally stopped. You will notice that there's no save buttons. You simply put in your information and then close the windows out. And again, this is because it's an app. It's not a spreadsheet in Excel or Word. So it's real time is how they explain it to me. So the minute you make a change or anything, it's saved right away. So you don't have to constantly be saving to make sure you're not losing your work, which I think is very beneficial. It makes it a lot easier. How many times have you done something? Have I saved it? Have I not saved it? Where was I? Where wasn't I? It's always going to be updating and saving whatever you're doing. I think I've covered everything on the patients. Again, this is very helpful if you prefer. I know some of you have to do say Casa Colina, for instance, has to be done by Wings. That might be something where you want to use your patient ID to put West, TLC, something like that, where you could quickly identify, and then you would just be able to sort it. And this may be a sort you're familiar with, it may not be. You could clear all. These are the fields that are on the worksheet, and you simply just select which one you want, hit move, put it over here, and it will automatically sort it that way. This is actually something I have not played with a whole lot. So actually, let's try it. Let's say we want to sort this by, let's say, payer type. So we select payer type, we hit move. You do have the option once you're over here to do it ascending or descending. but we're just going to do it by payer type and hit sort. And our spreadsheet now should be sorted, as you can see, by payer type. So we went house and then Part B. So when you're updating your notes, it may be an option. Everyone does it a little different. If you want to sort it that way so you can quickly find patients. If you want to go back and sort it by patient, you would simply come in here, clear all, find the field for patient name, move it over. If you want it in a different order, you would select ascending or descending, hit move, and sort. Again, this pop-up will be taken care of. And now you are sorted again alphabetically by patient name. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time. This was just a quick overview. If you have questions, please feel free to email me, and I will try to answer any questions you have to this point. If you have any feedback, please let me know now. The sooner the better, so I can either, figure out if it's something that is an option to have added or changed with the programmers. We're really pushing to get this done much sooner than later, but I wanted to share with you just a brief overview of what this will look like. Like I said, you will not be printing this out as your worksheet. There is a worksheet option that puts it into an Excel spreadsheet for you. However, there is some editing you will need to do once you put it into a worksheet to print it out, because it actually converts it over into an Excel format. So there's just a few little tweaks you can do once you put it into a worksheet to have it print out the way you like it. But I will get into that a little later. Again, please be aware and mindful that we will make updates to this over the next week or so. As I'm finding things, as you saw, little pop-ups are coming up, and there's still some tweaks going on, and while I'm working in it, the programmers are also working in it. So I will revisit this, and you will have more training on this. I just wanted to share with you what we've come up with so far. And again, see, it's moving around, and I believe that's because the programmer is working on the app as we speak. So again, please, your feedback is welcome and appreciated and much needed. As I said, you guys are the ones out there doing this every day. I haven't done it for quite a while. So anything you can think of that you'd like to see, please let me know now, as it may be something that we can have added before we actually launch. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time. Again, I'm just going back to the dashboard. I'm done. And all you do to close out is you simply